Hi, I'm Izzy, and you're listening to the Giddy Gigmeister podcast.
This podcast may contain unsuitable content and absolute buffoonery. Listener's discretion is advised. On today's episode,
Love to post podcast Glenn Powell if that's on the table.
After
like
we're done here, I would love
to Glenn Powell with you if that's.
I love that this is like the new verb,
Glenn
like
Powell
lingo.
You off the air. I will Glenn Powell you later tonight.
Yeah.
I
would love to Glenn Powell you. Mm-hmm.
Hey, yo,
Thank
girl, let's go Glenn Powell real quick.
So everything
Glenn
after.
Powell do. Haha, do you want a Netflix and Glenn Powell?
Oh my god. What's the next question?
Haha, Tazar, it is the Giddy Gigmeister podcast. You're listening in high definition HD 4K, baby. And now, your hosts.
Hey.
Hi.
Howdy!
Welcome to the Giddy Gigmeisters podcast. It is me, one of your hosts, J-Cat, along with Julia and Cece, where we are proudly providing languid life lessons, questionable quotables, and a plethora of performance tales, dutifully detailing turbulence and triumph in entertainment and everything. Welcome to the podcast, and oh my goodness, do you guys see that? I think
there's people in here.
Ew! What? There's people? There's extra
There's
people?
people.
What?
All of a sudden, the elbow room has lessened.
Yeah, we just started, and now we've invited people. Who are these intruders into our podcast?
Take a little look and put little glasses on.
Hold on.
Introduce yourselves. What are your names?
What is that? Who is in here? The wonderful lady with the microphone that works all the time. What's your name?
Oh yeah. Yeah. The best microphone known to man. Hi, I'm Emilie Grimes, if you want to be formal about it.
Ooh, so fancy.
Happy to be here.
One of them
Hi, Emilie. Are you an alcoholic?
We'll get to that next episode. Yeah, it's we just started. Ask me at the end. I don't. This might be water. I don't know.
I apologize for CC. We are getting her fixed later. But there's another person. Julia, do you see this other person?
I see her. I see this beautiful, beautiful creature with long, luscious hair and glasses that definitely didn't inspire me to wear mine.
Where? It's too dark. I can't see them.
Hi, I'm Izzy.
Hi,
Izzy.
Hi.
Welcome.
Yes. Today, it's so wonderful because today we are sharing some of our amazing memories. There is an amazing TikTok musical that is coming out or has come out. I don't know when you're listening to this. Probably the apocalypse has happened by now. But this podcast is still here to keep you warmth and comfort into the nuclear Bifrost. But we are celebrating Technicolor Dreamboat, which is an amazing musical on social media by these two wonderful, amazing, talented filmmakers. And we're interviewing them on today's episode. And nothing is going to stop me from getting right into the action. I'm not going to stop talking until we get right into these interviews.
Oh, no. Stop right there.
What?
I'm tired of you trying to take over this podcast, J-Cat, okay?
Shame on you, J-Cat.
Because
I'm just a man, okay?
Unacceptable. Unacceptable. All right, y'all. It is time for CC's 20-second fit check. All right, I'm going to kick it off right away here with my fit for today. So inspired by today's theme, we have light up cat ears and light up sunglasses for you. You are welcome because it's a party complete with the rainbow attire. We got the knitted rainbow shirt that ties beautifully in the back that my stepdad's wife made, and I'm so happy about it. We got the sexy leggings right here for you. All right. Also rainbow, complete with the bib just in case I need it.
That is
for
definitely
this
20 seconds.
happy and peanut butter jelly. right.
was definitely 20 seconds. You're done. You're done.
I'm sorry. No. I'm the one that cuts off here. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Since you want to interrupt, Julia, okay, tell us what you're wearing.
Well, today I'm serving up some Jennifer Coolidge goodness with these glasses and the hair. And wow, this Barbie shirt makes me want a hot dog real bad. We're going to cut visual on that one.
No, we're not. No, we are not.
We have my Barbie jersey, and I wore it for Izzy because she calls everyone Barbie, and I love her. And we're just having an all-out Barbie day. But that's my fit. My emotional support pillow for today.
Slay.
I am Knuff. We all are.
Okay, who's next?
All right,
who's
J-Cat, let's go.
What's up? Yo, it's your boy J-Cat. Homies wearing a vet. I don't know. I can't read it upside down, but it's clothes. I wore it, and you should be happy that I chose clothes today and not violence. I chose
Did
clothes.
you wear pants today, J-Cat?
I am, but I'm not. I can't do a leg. I can't
stand up right now.
No.
He never proves that he's wearing pants.
Stand up right now.
I will believe it when I see it.
And you're not seeing it today.
All right, 20 seconds up. Let's go, Izzy. What are you wearing?
Oh my gosh. I'm wearing Dollar Tree orange sunglasses my mom got me for my Taylor Swift birthday. I just turned 22. I'm wearing a shirt that I stole from one of my friend's closets. Her name is Jamie. She's my boyfriend. And these are Target shorts. Also featured is a bruise I got at work working Anime Expo and slipping on milk in the back. When somebody told me there was too much foam in their drink, and I went to get a spoon to wipe it out.
Workers' comp.
It's like directly your fault.
This is true. What did you
sue?
I mean, I filed a report, but like,
Oh.
yeah, I like did the appropriate. It was like midnight too because I was closing. Yeah, I was like,
okay. 20 seconds is way up. All right, okay. Emily,
okay.
we need to hear what you're wearing, okay?
Yes, please, Emily. What are you wearing?
I'm wearing the cloak hoodie, which I got because I was wearing the same shirt. And someone said, "Hey, I have that hoodie. Do you want the hoodie?" I said, "Yes, I would love the hoodie."
Free.
Look at the back. Look at the back.
Oh my god.
Hey.
And then I got the flannel pajama bottoms because it's been a long day, you know?
Been a long day.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
All right, and that was our 20-second fit check. That was way over 20 seconds each.
Emily's fit the time. Yeah, yours was clean.
Cece, I need to make note of something.
Yes.
Every episode so far, I'm pretty sure, has been Minion socks, but today it's Pizza Planet. So I just wanted everyone to know.
Classy.
I do have other socks that are not Minions.
Every single stinking
Somebody
episode has
bark,
had
bark?
Minion. Oh no, Izzy, you can't show your feet for free. No.
Dogs out.
Wait, did I miss it? Did you show your dogs? I missed it.
It was like 2 dogs. You can go instant replay.
Oh, okay, amazing.
Is the dog the foot or the toe?
It's the whole foot.
Because it would have been
It's the
toe.
Yeah, it's the
The
toes.
Yeah,
Or is the whole
toes?
foot the dog?
Yeah, it's the toes.
The toes.
Because every time I heard the saying, my dogs are barking, I figured like it's your feet. So
I
it's
thought
like
I was the right. If the dog is the toe, there probably was 3 toe. If the dog is the foot, there was 1 foot.
So sorry,
okay, wait.
guys.
I want
Give
to
me 1 second. I'll be right back.
This is a debate now.
I have to ask a question, and I want all of us to do your gut instinct, yes or no. No explanations. Yes or
Okay.
no. Ready, set, foot picks. Yes or no.
Yes.
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
what?
if you get paid, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, what is the
If you're
context?
getting
No
money,
is
yes.
my
If
gut
you're getting
instinct.
money, yeah.
Foot picks. Yes or no.
No was my gut reaction. However, if you're getting paid,
But if you're getting
Yeah,
paid, yeah. I
absolutely.
would sell foot picks. If I have bunions that run in my family, so I actually can't. Like genuinely.
I
So,
mean,
like,
you can because there's people
I
who
can.
are into that.
Who are into you think?
Yes.
Charge extra.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good point.
Career
You're right. I have
woman.
a rarity in my feet.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
God
gotta
was
flip
in
the
this
script.
podcast once and he left.
God made dogs.
J-Cat's right.
God
Don't
made
have with your
dogs.
feet. is leading them astray, leading them into temptation, and we just,
Exactly.
we don't have it. So the correct answer was no.
That's what I said. I'm always right. So
thank you, Emilie, for bringing God back to this podcast. Not Jake.
What? Well, speaking of God, it's time for Izzy and Emilie to get 60 seconds. I'm actually going to time this. You're going to get 60 seconds to prove yourselves. How dare you come into our podcast and not prove thyself to be worthy of the title of Giddy Gigmeister. Sorry, I went a little accent there. My bad. My bad.
I was just gonna say that. We're like in the royal court.
Yes. It's time to prove yourselves. And we're going to start with Emilie.
Yay!
And your time starts now.
I assume that proving myself just means introducing myself, in which case I am Emilie. In the context of this episode, I am the director, co-writer, and co-producer of Technicolor Dreamboat. I worked with these four amazing people, but the three who run this podcast specifically, we're our dance team for the show. I graduated from GCU. I'm from Alaska originally. People always find that to be very interesting. So I miss it, especially right now because it's over 100 degrees in Arizona and I want to die. Is that 60 seconds? Do I need to go the full 60 seconds? Do I have to keep going?
Council have
premature, Emilie, premature.
I'm a Gemini. You're gonna out me as a Gemini? Okay, that is also a fact about me. You're the only one. I am a Gemini. My birthday was earlier last month. And I do film things. And I like to read and play video games.
Boom. All right,
Good
council.
Good job, Emilie.
Council. Yes, council.
Can we ignore the fact that before you make your decision,
Glenn Powell.
Ignore the fact that the last part of that was just like a man. I do film things. I like to read and play video games.
Men can't read, Emilie. There's no way.
Right. The book saved me. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
I've never read a thing in my life. Can confirm.
That's why the Zoom took so long. Couldn't figure out.
Call me out. I'm cutting that part out.
No.
Council, besides Emilie turning into a dude bro in the final 10 seconds, what are your thoughts?
Gonna say yes, but then that final 10, Cece, I really just, where are you at?
Yeah, I also feel in the same way. I might have to deduct some points from that.
Actually, I might need to hear Izzy's and then make my judgment.
Ooh, I like that.
Izzy does in comparison.
We're like a joint package.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That makes sense.
All right, Izzy, your time starts now.
Hello, my name is Izzy. I am 22. I'm a Cancer. I'm currently LA based. I am in grad school because I'm better than everyone, and I am going for a program that's like immersive media, and I did not know that's what it was. So now I just sit in a VR headset all the time, which is not what I wanted. But we make the most of it. I travel with like 30 DVDs at all times, and I don't have a DVD player. I want to write all the time. I started with Miraculous Ladybug fan fiction, and I think that kind of gives some good relatability tips and points. My favorite movie is Back to the Future. I just am Marty McFly. I'm also in love with Marty McFly. She's single. I don't know if she's ready to mingle. I like coffee. And with Technicolor, I co-wrote it and I run the social media and co-produced it and slayed the whole time efficiently. So
all right.
Hey.
She ate up every second. Every second was a crumb and she just ate it up.
Stop it.
I mean, 10 seconds in, she said that she was better than all of us. So, I mean, I can't argue with
How
that.
brutally vulnerable, my friend. Single, but I don't know if I'm ready to mingle. I also like coffee.
These are
You
all true
sips-
things.
Sips coffee.
I just don't know if I need single ready to mingle on the internet in my voice. Like, I don't know if I need that. So like I was like, I'm single.
Oh, I'm clipping it. I'm clipping it.
Good,
Gifting
good.
it.
All the promotional videos, just like, she needs to be married off. My parents would love that. My mom specifically would be so excited. So if we could get me married off by the end of the podcast. That
Perfect.
would be,
That's actually going to be season 3 is our matchmaking
good.
season.
Oh my gosh,
so.
yay. My mom would love that.
Can you imagine if we just got a bunch of people on here to play The Bachelor?
Oh my gosh.
The Bachelor just started, which I don't know. But it did.
Better idea is like the Married at First Sight, but like you have to like join the podcast. Like you just like randomly join people on the Zoom.
Just so funny. You just like roulette what time
I am a wedding officiant, so
that's right.
Yeah,
that's incredible. That's right. We legalized this bitch. Just kidding. Sorry.
Wow, thanks. Already have to cut that. Perfect. Thank you. Well, thank you guys so much. Council, I guess they're gonna stay. I mean, we do have them scheduled for the rest of the time period, so might as well.
Yes.
Fine.
We'll announce the decision at the end.
If we get to come back.
I really like I think we should keep them around for some questions.
All right, I guess. So yeah, speaking of questions. Ooh.
Questions with the questions.
What?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Questions with the questions.
She's a writer.
You can tell she's a writer. Analyze.
Family just great plays.
Well, Julia, do you want to kick us off with our first round of questions for our guests?
Yes, I totally can. My first question for you guys, and it's for both of you to answer, so in whatever order and maybe conversationally, what is the coolest part about being a director or producer or writer or any aspect of this that you pulled off? Because you guys did lots of jobs, many hats. Coolest part.
Well, what I love about directing, I'm kidding. Didn't do that. No, real. Emily did all three, so like she can start.
Okay. Hi, that's triple threat, you know.
Yeah, she is. She is.
I feel like the coolest part about directing for me is always like the trust that the crew puts in you. I think that's such a cool thing. And I talked about it when we did Quirk, which was the short film that we did before Technicolor. But I had never I hadn't really proven myself on the film scene, you know? And so everybody just was like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure she can direct this short film. And that was crazy. For I had nothing on my resume and they were like, yes, we trust you. So I think
crushed it. Sorry, just wanted to pipe that in. Crushed Quirk, amazing.
Yeah, no, Quirk is literally God's gift to humanity. By the way, we are semi-finalists for the Women's Film Festival in New York. So
congratulations.
Let's go.
It's not officially just there. So we could keep moving, guys. We could keep moving.
As a man, I am very proud of you guys. Name 3 other women who have made it.
I couldn't.
That's good. No. Yeah, but no, I think the trust that people put in you, especially for Technicolor, it was such a massive project, and for people to be like, yeah, you guys can handle this. That was really cool.
That is true. I would agree that specifically going from Quirk to Technicolor, I think there was a lot of enthusiasm around Quirk. People were like, yeah, and that was really special to have people who I get after proving yourselves be like, yeah, you definitely should do this thing again and do a crazy thing that no one's ever done before. Yes, totally makes sense. That's super fun. I love producing because I hate set. So for me, I like that I can do all the work before and after. And if the job was done well, that's not always true. If everything goes as planned, then I don't have anything to do when we get to set. That's not always the case. But like for Quirk, I had a great time because I got other work done. Like I hid out in another room. Like there's no pictures of me and I was never there. I don't really like
other work.
No, but
Other
good.
work
I like
and sleep and also sleep.
Oh, I did do that. No, I
did
loved
fall
it.
asleep on set. Yeah.
And I recorded fully for my other podcast. That was fun. I remember one of the first times I ever met Kale, who's the lead in this one. I was like, I really need a good bird sound because I was making this like fantasy elf fighting thing. And so I went outside and I was like, these birds are good. And I'm sitting here with my iPhone and I'm recording this, and he's like, what are you doing? And I turned and I was like, getting bird sounds, obviously.
Like,
He never wanted a good first impression. That was probably a really good one for, and he was like, yeah, I'll work with her again. That was a good. I doubt he remembers. But also he was just like hanging out by his car. I don't know what he like getting in this. I don't know what he was doing, but he was just sitting by his car alone.
Mm-hmm.
So.
As most men do when they are also collecting bird sounds, as you sit next to
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, I'm
stole
locked
my
in.
tree.
I understand.
Yeah. Good thing we have the male perspective on this podcast.
Yeah.
My
My bad. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, I mean, since I'm getting all this hate, I guess I better ask my question next.
Please.
So specifically for Emilie, since we are talking about directing, Emilie, what was your directorial process for this type of film?
This was really interesting because for Quirk, I didn't write Quirk. And so I had I had Izzy's script. It was a great script. And then I made it come to life, right? But for this one, I was in the writer's room and we wrote it together. And so there was like a little bit of a deeper connection to it, I think, which I would argue isn't always a good thing. It can help, but it can also hurt, I feel like, because you get really attached to things. Like there were so many things that we wrote that did not end up in the final, like mostly because like logistically it just didn't work. And like we were just talking about we ended up filming in a recording studio for the date that happens on the show. But it was originally a record store, which my director brain was very excited about. And the choreography would have been so cool just for the record. For the record.
Choreography.
Pun intended.
Pun intended. Yeah, no, I had big visions for that scene. So it was interesting to like go from the very beginning of the project to the very end of the project. And that was a very different process than it was with Quirk. But yeah, I mean, I think just like I really knew the characters and I really knew the story because I had been there from the beginning, and so it just sort of came naturally this time.
You guys did a great
job.
job.
Slayed.
Yes, she did.
Yes,
Slayed.
Yes,
bodies were on the floor dead.
So many. So many.
I was just telling somebody
people
how
had
like
to pay off.
Oh golly. I was just telling people how on set, like I never knew when there was problems going on because you guys always had your cool. Like you guys would always like had a level head. And if you guys like started like tittering about a conversation in the corner and you noticed people started listening, you'd be like, let's have this conversation outside. And like, let's just take this over here or whatever. Like you were so good about just like maintaining a good vibe and a professional presence and just like not making other people feel stressed just because like I don't know, like in a way you kind of knew God would handle it in some way. And then on the other hand, yeah, like, I don't know. It's just like you did so good. Like when people sense panic, they panic. So you did a really good job. Like, I don't know if there were any issues. As far as I know, it was a perfect shoot.
Yeah.
I mean,
thank you so much for saying that.
That's like the kindest thing I've ever heard.
It's hard to do. A lot of people cannot keep their cool.
It's very true. And you can tell because when you know that there's good leadership, everything else falls into place. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest, everything fell into place. Like I'm sure it wasn't how it may wanted to have gone, or it didn't exactly fit into the puzzle piece it was supposed to, but it fell into place, it got done, and nobody can say anything because the leadership was there to be like, we're pushing through. And you, Emilie and Izzy, you both were a part of that leadership. And so we thank you so much. You guys were amazing, and you still are amazing. You keep doing amazing stuff. So yeah, as a man,
Much
just wanted to
love.
say props.
I will say one thing
So
about
kind.
both Quirk and Technicolor is I could not have done it without Izzy on set.
Oh,
Stop
it.
I adore you,
Can
Izzy.
you feel the love tonight?
No, because I can't read.
I think we made our married at first sight connection, guys.
Oh.
Just kidding. No.
It was bound to happen.
Yeah. No, we've talked about before, we work very well as a team, like specifically with producing. I would say it's like when one of us is frazzled, the other one's locked in, you know. And
This
so
is
it's very
true.
nice to have both of us there.
Mhm.
It definitely helped for sure.
Yeah. I also think I can't really speak towards the directorial process, but I can say, and I think it's interesting because I don't know necessarily if it's our branding. And also, Emily, if you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to. But the Technicolor was one of those things that, like, I, as a human being, could not do alone. And there were a lot, like we talked earlier, you mentioned like bits. Palms up was a thing that we were like anything can be given to us and anything can be given away and we can't do it. So like there'd be days that we'd walk in there and we'd be like, literally can't do it by myself. Like please finish it. And like I've never had that kind of like stretching of faith before, especially with something you care so much about when you have, and like I this is from a collection of short stories that I wrote when I was 17. And so like to like have such a long time with it, to then be seeing this thing and then to feel so out of control at times. But also that comes from like having such wonderful people to trust when when certain things are going awry, that other things are going to be taken care of just fine. And so without you three, I love that we're just sharing, but like I genuinely like there was never like my brain was never like choreo. Like I cannot remember. Like once y'all were locked in, you were like locked in. And as somebody who had to learn their choreo 3 days before they were on screen, I appreciate, like I have never ever like been so confident in, and y'all were such a joy. Like talk about like consistency of vibes. Like your vibes were immaculate. Anytime y'all were here, I was like, life's gonna be good, you know? Like and what like even when there were some of the worst parts, like people dream to do what we do. Like it is their dream to make something, and we just like are young and doing it. And I feel so blessed to have so many amazing people join us in doing it, you know?
And yes, they truly do. They have a whole team of people behind them that fully believe in anything that they like. You guys, we would follow you into the fire. Like I feel like it's when you feel like you're in good hands, you'll go anywhere. All state. Just kidding. Our unofficial sponsor of the pod.
Yes.
Are you in good hands?
That's crazy. I can't wait to pay you one day.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. No, it's like legit. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your guys' vision. Like I'm sure when you were writing this at 17, you didn't think that several years later you're gonna be on a Zoom call with us. You don't talk
for sure
about this.
Exactly.
No,
this is
super
part
thankful.
of like a group of like superhero short stories I wrote in high school. Like it's like so different. Like if I could go back and be like, hey, your little superhero things are gonna be like a TikTok musical, like I would have never like it would have been like
you would have
what's
said
TikTok?
Musically?
Yeah, musically, exactly. Like, what is
Just like, yeah, like what?
What?
And that guy with the birds? What do you mean birds?
What do you mean birds?
Oh my goodness.
So funny.
Okay, well, we're talking about Technicolor, but I think some of our audience members might want to know what Technicolor is, because we haven't really talked about exactly what it is. So, I am wondering what inspired you guys to kind of come up with the idea for Technicolor, and maybe if you could give us a little bit of like a sneak peek of kind of what the audience can expect, depending on when this is released, if it's already out or not, or if they haven't been able to check it out yet. So just kind of give us a little tea.
Well, if you want to hear the thing that I say every day. So Technicolor Dreamboat is a TikTok musical that was recorded vertically. It's 11 episodes. It's about a boy with hair that changes colors with his feelings. So when he's sad, his hair is blue. Red, it is angry when it's red, so on, so forth. I say that all the time. I pitch it to people all the time. It
Slay!
was
Okay,
so
hold
funny.
on, pause, because anyone who's watching would notice that was so on point that even Emilie felt like she could now belong in you doing it.
Yeah. No, it's
It was
the
pre-recorded.
It's the same every time. Truly.
Every
I
time.
love it. Yeah. So
I've
on,
gotten-
so forth.
Emily
So
had it, though.
on,
Emily
so
was
forth.
out
No,
here
real.
mixing
I
it.
biffed it. If you would have done it better than me, probably. No, it's so interesting. So Emily and I did Quirk, and I said, I'm going to grad school. I cannot do anything. I cannot. I was like, I can't really make any commitments. I'm going to be really busy with school. I'm not going to be able to do anything. And then grad school started, and it wasn't that hard. And then, so we were talking about doing this like a YouTube TV show, and this all scattered. The reason why this all happened is that we made Quirk, and then we had to raise more money to submit Quirk into festivals. And so the one win that we told you about was met by like 7 no's. And so we probably invested the same amount of money as the budget into putting it into festivals to be told, no, we're not going to show this anywhere. And as you all have probably seen, hopefully seen, it's really good. Like Quirk is objectively a very good film, and it has a lot of representation, and it's just a really fun time. And it's boggling that it's not doing like well. But we're also young and the budget was low, and we didn't have a Twitch streamer attached to it. And so obviously it's whatever. So we didn't really want to make another thing that wasn't going to be shown. And like until it's done with the circuits, we can't put Quirk on YouTube because it has to have its premiere. And so I can't really show it to anybody back home. And I'm from Little Wisconsin. Like people want to see the things that we do. And nobody, and I mean, Emilie gets it. She's from Alaska. Like, there's no TV there. They still have dinosaurs. So, like,
no TV in the igloos.
No TV in the igloos. So we were like, what do we do? So we were going to make this show that was actually, can I say the log? Do you feel comfortable saying the log line? Okay. We were going to make this show.
Yeah, you can say the log line. Sorry, just
Are you
cut
sure?
out the part where I said we can't say the log line, and then just have us say it.
I got you.
hesitated.
I got you.
Ever.
We're gonna make this YouTube show. It's gonna be like a bottle episode show, and only filmed in Emilie's apartment. And it's gonna be 2 roommates, and one was gonna be a lesbian, and one was gonna be a Christian. And it was gonna talk about those kind of dynamics. And it's very fun, and we love them a lot, and we do want to really make it. But just wasn't, and it was going to live on YouTube. Like it was gonna be like a web series, but we were gonna film it more cinematically and do all the things. And then someday, randomly, Emilie said, "Hey, do you want to write a musical?" And I said, "Yes." And like to this day, we don't really remember how that happened. But I remember that it was very much that we wanted Andrew to write the music. And I haven't written for a man in years. And so like the idea of having a male vocalist as the lead, I was like, I don't really feel like I have anything that is like for men. And so I opened up my little final draft of like my thousands, because I write all the time, of all my things. And at the bottom of it was Technicolor Dreamboat, which is the concept. It's a little different. I mean, it was a feature. It kind of felt more like the half of it. I don't know if you guys seen that, but little small town bicycle riding. And there's like this character named Cooper that we love, that if we ever do a season 2, Cooper will come back. Or if we get a feature, we love Cooper. Cooper's like 6'5" and buff, and it like plays D&D and dresses up like a warlock. Like we love Cooper.
So Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell.
So Glenn Powell.
No, real. We love Cooper. And so we were sitting at Gus's Chicken in Mesa, and I was like, hey, what if we did Technicolor Dreamboat, but we made it? And
if I can jump in,
please.
When we were making Quirk around the time, probably in pre-production, I was at Izzy's house. It was really late, and we were talking about things that we wanted to make or things that we were like ideas that we had or something. And she brought up Technicolor Dreamboat. And I said, that sounds awesome. It's such a cool concept. I was like, oh man, like I hope that one day I get to work on that. Like that's so cool.
Oh.
And so when you said that at Gus's world famous fried chicken in Mesa, shout out. When you
We
said
love
that,
Gus's.
we do. They know us
Do.
now. We went in and they
They
were
do.
like,
Wait, I'll grab my shirt.
Unofficial sponsor, Gus's.
Yeah.
For real.
Pod?
Unofficial sponsor.
Gus's
No, but
chicken and
when oh, there she is. There it is.
Hey.
Aww.
No, but we were sitting there and
We love.
she brought up Technicolor. And I remembered the idea that she had told me before. Like at that point, it's probably like 7 months ago. Like
That's
right?
crazy. Feels like years later, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. But she was like, Technicolor Dreamboat, I told you about this idea, right? I was like, yeah, you told me about this idea. Please, can we make it? Yes. So yeah, and then
Yeah.
because you thought it would work really well as a musical.
I did feel that way. And sometime down the line, because I study, so my background is like my undergrad was in social media, then I'm studying like immersive media, my capstone's like in Snapchat, like media's kind of my deal. And so I feel like we had been talking about, I was like, well, what if like it was like on the internet? Because the whole point was like accessibility and people being able to see things. And as like a theater, I don't know if y'all, I feel like y'all give theater kid like not derogatory. And so like,
I'm sorry. What? We're gonna have to pause right there.
I'm sorry, excuse me, the cast list is up right now? What?
I just feel like theater culture is such a and I feel like I was remembering, like, even we've been talking about the release of the album, and I've been like we making a wiki page because I remember listening to Dear Evan Hansen and like reading the synopsis. Like, it's just like a different vibe. And so creating like musical theater that anybody can accept, like you don't have to go to Broadway to watch it. That is so exciting to me. And so sometime we pitched to Andrew and he said yes. And I feel it. Oh, and then we were really worried about the VFX. And it was my identity crisis, which my mother wrote. It was like one of the after parties because whatever. And we were talking to the editor, and she's like, "Oh, I'll help you." And she was like, "Yeah, I'll test your footage. Yeah, we'll figure it out." And she was like, because we really were like, neither of us know VFX. Like, there's no way that we could make it. And hair apparently is like the hardest thing to do. And she was like, "Yeah, we'll do it. Like, we'll figure it out."
Yeah.
And so like it really feels like we wanted to make this other show. And it was like, no. And we, again, one location, 2 characters, don't have to go anywhere. And instead, God said musical.
Yeah.
Shoot it vertically.
God sent Michael and he was like, "Hey, yo, you ever heard of Musically?"
No.
Let me tell you, things are about to go crazy in the future.
They said, actually, I feel like I need to blow up TikTok with the song of the summer, Emerald Serenade.
We're trying.
By the time this is out, at the very least, the album is going to be out.
Yes.
So you guys have to be streaming it.
That will have dropped on July 19th.
You'll all know everywhere July 19th. July 19th.
Yeah. Where were you July 19th?
Where were you?
At the Capitol.
Emerald Serenade dropped in the sky.
Is he with the album in hand at the Capitol?
Stop. I'll bring my vinyl. It's gonna be like a rainbow colored vinyl, obviously.
The Senate's gonna be like, there's a woman outside with a vinyl. It's like, we can't have this again.
Not again.
Not again.
Not again.
They're like, what does she look like? And they're like, I don't know, a rainbow afro?
Yeah. She keeps saying to saturate your spirit. I don't know.
She's a part of a cult. It's a cult, right?
Oh my god.
Emilie, do you have anything to add about that part of the making? Because I feel like I can't even, like, it all just like tumbled and happened. And
yeah, a series of divine events is really what it felt like. We really did like design this whole TV show that we were working on to be the simplest thing, like the easiest thing. But because they were 30-minute episodes, and I think we had like 5 episodes, something like that. We were like, oh well, that's like a feature, so that's like too much work. We shouldn't do that.
Right.
And then we did the hardest thing that we've ever
we
done
have this
instead.
other feature that we want to do as well. And so we actually were like, well, let's put the other thing off the plate and make like this road trip feature and do like, we're talking about like a 10 girl only, sorry, JCat, a 10 girl only crew.
It's okay. It's fine. It's whatever.
And like that was kind of like, then we're like, okay, even now we're like kind of in pre-pro for that. Like, and by kind of, I mean like Pinterest boards, but like, and you know, but I remember we were at like the Quirk release part, like we did, because we tried to throw a big party, it didn't work out, which is fine. And so instead we ended up doing just like a very low key release.
I remember talking to Andrew and officially like bringing Andrew on board after the GCU Film Festival.
Wow.
And then I threw a Halloween party and I said, Kale Klein, who showed up in a penguin costume. Hey, Kale.
It's important to know which Kale we're talking about.
Yes, Kale Klein.
Yeah, Kale Klein.
But yeah, it was
because he had his like social media casting.
Yeah, he had just launched the Remote Actors Academy, something like that.
Oh, good job knowing the name. I was
put a little spicy in here.
Yeah, all this free promotion. Stop promoting Kale for free. Okay, if he wants to promote, he has to come on the podcast. If he
no,
wants
exactly.
You guys should get Kale Klein on the podcast. Yeah. And that's how Technicolor came to be.
Oh,
wow.
That's amazing.
Wow, that just proves I need to live in an igloo too. Wow.
Yeah.
The brain
that's why I'm not
real.
Genius. I wasn't born in an igloo.
I agree.
That's why I was. Yeah. So.
Just kidding.
Well, that was our first round of questions.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
And speaking of igloos, so we don't have avalanches. We're moving to our next segment, anti ASMR.
Ooh. Tell them how it works.
Not making sound.
No real.
Okay, so for anti-ASMR, we have some scenarios that we each came up with, and we're going to read the scenarios to you, and then you have to make the sound of what you think would be happening in that scenario.
Oh.
And because it's anti-ASMR, she does not have to be cute. So just go for it, you know?
Yes.
Just go for it.
First thing that comes to
I
mind.
guessed this was when we were discussing. I really thought that we were each gonna sit here while you tried to make us like ache out with noises. Like
JCat, we gotta talk.
Yeah.
We gotta
wait.
We gotta Glenn Powell after this.
So
cameras would need to be off for that.
Julia, we need to scrap the eating segment now.
Yeah. Actually, JCat, huddle me real quick. No, that's crazy. We want more crazy stuff like that. We need to like have you guys just invent bits for us to do. That'd be great.
So funny. I really thought you were gonna be like in like a mic, and I was gonna be like.
I really thought we were just gonna scream. I thought it was, anti-ASMR. I thought we were just like screaming into the void for a while,
Did you think it was like Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber when he's like, "You want to hear the most annoying noise in the world?"
Yeah, I did.
Like,
I did. I absolutely did think that. Hit us with the scenarios. I'm ready.
Okay.
Wait. Also, I can't do impressions. This just needs to be told ahead of time.
Okay, girl, neither can I. Just wait till you hear the impressions episode and the accents.
Dialect episode.
Good.
Awesome.
Good.
Girl, you go
as long as that's
me.
on the table. I'm really talented. That's a thing God did not give me.
Same, girl, same.
Okay. Now I'm ready.
All right.
Okay.
So with that, since you're ready, Izzy, we'll go with you first.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, What is the sound you make when you hear Cece's warm-up playlist for the 80th time?
Oh. I just went through that footage today, and my whole body was like, oh. About to get sweaty.
She said,
J-Cat, can you insert the music here?
I always let it.
Girl, I hope you're ready. Bitch, we about to get sweaty.
No, real.
So good.
Yeah. I love you, but yeah.
But the noise is
my favorite
Emilie,
part.
you go.
Yeah, my favorite part was every time, because my back was always to everyone, so all I heard when the music started was, "Oh man."
I genuinely, with that specific one, now that we're here and we're being vulnerable, I would just get really tripped up when we started spinning. Like, I can go side to side, but I'm like, do we go over or do we go behind? And like, I was like looking at footage and I was like, she looks dumb every. And I know that it's a warm up, and I was getting it was like there's no winning, but I'm a winner, and I could not figure it out.
I forgot you had to do the warm-ups.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
I did
this is a great song.
Emily was like, yeah, we're gonna like go and you're gonna learn your things and it's gonna be great. And then she gets to sit there and be like,
good job, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Careening in the corner. My gosh.
My favorite was Rose, because Rose initially was scared, and then for some reason she got really determined. And she would put on her determined face.
I forgot that she
Like,
had
real.
it too.
Yeah.
I forgot how many people were in
At
the
least you
musical.
didn't have to look at the faces. I had to watch everybody's face.
My
Be so disappointed.
My favorite part was J-Cat doing the warm-ups, because J-Cat killed it every
No, you really do every time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You
Oh my
brought the
goodness.
energy, J-Cap, for sure.
No, for sure.
I tried my
J-Cat's
best.
like, this is how you do a grapevine. Turn 2, 3.
Exactly.
Talk about leadership. I mean, both of you,
Yeah.
all three of you with the choreo. I mean, talk about leadership.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Emily's
Thank
stalling
you.
so she doesn't get hurt.
Yes, I know. I was waiting. I was like,
I love that song. The
I mean,
noise
she
I
did
would
a
make
little
is,
bit.
I love this song.
Too many consonants.
At least somebody did.
Giggity. Hold on, let me think. The noise I would probably make is that's probably it. Yeah.
Wow.
Brava! Brava!
That was amazing.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Very good, ladies. The competition is neck and neck. It's very hard. It's very hard out here. It's very, very difficult. I'm gonna go ahead, Jake, and just jump in with my questions because I want to save you for last.
Go ahead.
So
I also feel targeted.
Lots of targets. And you should feel targeted.
Thank you, Izzy. Thank you, Izzy. Sorry, Julia.
Okay. Let's see. Izzy, I would like you to make the sound that Emery makes while writing in her diary about Grayson kissing a girl.
Yeah.
Is that it? Wow. She was short and sweet. Amazing.
I feel like I do need to also say that I do have 3 roommates, and so I cannot be the shrieking level that Miss Ryder was. There would be more like voice cracking and I guess like fallout from the noise. You know,
the judges will take that into consideration.
It would hit.
But
yeah, it's understood.
We'll have to send you guys.
It was not disclosed before the competition began.
No, it
therefore,
totally makes sense.
That we have to, and if you're sick, then we have to.
No, I do.
Enough with the mind games from this other person here. Your sound. What would it sound like if you caught and interrupted Grayson singing in the shower?
First of all, there's a lot involved in that. Am I Grayson or am I doing the catching?
It's up for interpretation.
You have the butterfly net.
I have the butterfly. I'm doing the catching. Okay, and somebody has to sing.
I don't know.
Izzy, can you sing Grayson's song?
What is it like the
Emotional damage.
Oh,
Yeah. Dad, where are you?
Oh my gosh! Why are you showering in my apartment?
What?
yeah.
It's probably the only way that would happen.
How did you get in here?
I feel like I'm not utilizing the British accent as much as you guys are, and I've been like trying to actively think.
Would you like a moment to use a British accent? Izzy?
No. I'm just like I'm kind of putting it out there in case I do start implementing it more into my speech. That is
It's a conscious effort.
Yeah.
Izzy, your sound is.
Yeah, please.
That's amazing.
Well, I guess since
Go
it is my
Izzy.
turn.
Go, Emilie.
Yes, yes. Izzy, your ASMR is the sound of it being quiet on set.
Or I don't know if people could be able to see this, but
For those at home who are not able to visualize this, Izzy made several threatening motions with her thumb in her neck region.
Yeah, that would be
what we
mine.
did.
And that's what we did.
Accurate.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Emilie, your anti-ASMR is the sound of Grayson's hair changing color.
You get it out, Emilie?
The hair speaks. Finally.
Did you see my hair change color? That's what it takes. That's what it takes. And you're gonna hear that
was
every
crazy.
episode. Every time
Wow.
it changes, that's what you hear.
Jaden.
Jaden, yeah. Jaden, take notes. That's what we need. Just rip it exactly from this podcast. Yeah.
Oh hell yeah. Okay.
All I see is Jaden with the boom just like squatting. Just going.
Stop. For love.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Shout out to Jaden.
So funny.
Oh, my goodness.
Y'all, I'm gonna go piss girl, but I'm gonna be right back. Just so you guys know.
No, take us with you. You can't piss
muted, so
alone.
we couldn't record
Not
this
allowed.
by yourself, Hanson.
Glenn Powell! Glenn Powell!
Oh
I think
my
Glenn
god.
Powell is our safe word. I want to continue that. I think that is going to be the legacy we add on to this podcast.
We had to leave something, you know. We couldn't just
of
hop
course.
on here and leave.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I hope you're having fun. I can't really tell with the intermittent of like faces of pain that I sometimes am making, but I hope I'm enjoying myself. I hope you are having fun.
I'm having a great time.
Wonderful.
We
A blast.
we always end up taking longer than we expect. So even though we're like, oh my god, the podcast will be like a 40-minute little amuse bouche for the ears.
Yeah. I feel like this is gonna be a long episode for sure.
Oh, it's all right. The magic of editing will save us.
That's true. This is true.
Yeah.
We do have more questions. I think that's the bulk, just because we get to reminiscing, you know, like it's not just the question answer. Like we get to sit here and talk about all the
totally.
the
I got
good
nowhere
and
to
the
be.
craziness.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Okay, so I guess I can start it off with our next set of questions because we were talking about editing. So, Emilie and Izzy, how do you approach the editing process?
Yeah, Izzy, how do you approach
I
editing?
don't. I'm not there. I haven't been there. There was one day I was there and Kale said, "Why are you here?" I said, "Okay." I get sent things sometimes and sometimes I respond to them. I think actually Emilie tends to ask me like very pointed questions and I give very pointed answers, but I don't know if I usually like holistically look at it and be like, thoughts.
this is kind of an interesting conversation, because I definitely know that the way that Technicolor has gone is a lot different than the way that Quirk went. Because I think, I mean, with Quirk, you were also a producer, and so like you were involved in some of the conversations, but a lot of like the nitty gritty stuff was more Kale and I. Whereas this, we've approached Technicolor as co-creators of the thing, and so I feel like you have a lot more agency in this.
That's true.
Like, editing is interesting. We are definitely in the thick of it at the moment as we are recording this. Kale is just a great editor. Yep. Kale Freeland is a great editor. He usually has like a solid pass by the time I see it. Sometimes that's not true. But we're working on that, because sometimes we tried me like in the room with him while it's happening, and that doesn't really work, because there's a lot of things that, like, as well as everything could go perfectly on set and there's still going to be fix it in post moments, and when he hits those moments, I don't need to see that. Like that's for him to kind of find the workaround to where I don't even notice. But so we tried a couple different things where like I would be in the room with him, or he would send passes, or we've been over FaceTime for like a few specific questions and he can share his screen. But it's been going well. I think there's only 3 episodes that aren't picture locked right now.
Wow.
And then yeah, very
Here,
exciting.
folks.
The really interesting thing I would say is that there's this whole other part of the team that we didn't have on Quirk. Kale basically did everything. I mean, Andrew and Jaden still did sound design and stuff like that, but like Kale was more involved because everyone was together. Specifically, him and Andrew lived together for that summer.
Right.
But we have a massive team on post-production this time, and that has been really interesting, trying to like get everybody on board and on the same page and make sure that everybody's doing stuff. That has been the craziest part for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. It sounds like a lot of the editing process, like you had like your hands in it, but it sounds like you were mostly hands off, which is really cool that you trust your team that much to be able to carry out. Because a lot of people believe editing is the last place for the vision to fall into place. So a lot of directors, I feel like, want to be there to see the baby get cut together the way it's supposed, to be in their head. So I think that's really cool that you trust your team enough to have that distance and like just let them rock.
Yeah, I mean, Kale's very talented. Like,
Yeah.
he just
So
is, and yeah.
I also think that it was specifically with this one, I feel like Kale would be comfortable with me saying this. If not, maybe he can glum out later. But there was some parts in the beginning when we were being sent things, and it's hard when you get first passes because nothing is colored, so it all looks like grainy and weird, and there's no sound yet. And you hear weird, like there's one I love showing parts of episode 10 because you hear Brett and Emilie in the back and go, that was good. Like I love that. But there was specifically towards the beginning, even some of like the simpler episodes, they didn't like feel full, I would say. And Kale came back with what I call subway surfering. But like really smart ways to use the platform and use the size of the phone because again, like we've never done, not many people do these kind of things and shoot vertically before, and so the frames work different and how you transition to things is very different. So I think Kale, and I remember Kale being very respectful when he asked. I think we got like an 8-minute voice memo that was like, I'm gonna try this really weird thing, you can hate it but I think it's gonna help. And every time there's like fear, uncomfortability, because you're like, this isn't exactly what I thought was gonna happen, but it's usually right. Like he really has, and the outside the box thinking, because like there's so much personality in the way that you edit things, and I've never edited something on the scale that Kale does, and so I think that we're so lucky to have somebody that has been willing to like elevate it, and he cares a lot about branding and like understanding the branding and understanding the holistic like vision of the project. So it's not just like, oh, I'm cutting things up and making it a thing. Like he really wanted to understand the whole vision, and not just the story but also the medium, which I really that's an invaluable thing. Kale Freeland's not allowed to watch this because his ego is bigger than mine, and so he really can't handle hearing this.
The episode.
Right.
Kale's
But I think that there's like for what this was and the way that it worked, and for such a time as this, like he has been like the perfect person to have that, like to give this footage to and be like, okay, you know, like and just make the most beautiful things. Like I just showed my sister part of episode 1, and she's 17, and so she's the meanest I love her, but she's just like really mean. And she was like, wait, I want to watch the next one. And it wasn't even done, like remotely done yet. And that to me, I know exactly. And I was like, I can die happy there. Like that's the kind of, and that comes, I feel like, from a lot of stylistic choices that Kale does, as well as every other person who did everything. But like, I do think the edit is one of those last, like, you know, nails in the coffin.
Honestly, being like so honest, if it had played out the way that I saw it playing out when we were writing it and when I was directing it, it would not be nearly as good as it is going to be. I mean, Kale did like that idea that he came up with to use the fullness of the screen in a different unconventional way is going to just take the whole thing to another level. And I was very against it at first. I was really, you know, like it's so scary to have such a big new idea. But he, I mean, has a way of proving himself in 60 seconds. But he does. He'll have an idea and then he'll show you why it's gonna work. You know, he's not just gonna tell you. He's not allowed to listen to this.
No, he's not. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I feel
5
like
minutes on Kale.
You didn't just trust just anybody. This is somebody you've worked with before. This is somebody that like was very much a part of the process. You didn't just like hand it off to some stranger. So like he already knew everything going on with the project, and so I feel like it's really cool that you are able to let that go and see it flourish maybe in ways that you yourself admit that you like didn't see it that way. So I think that's really cool. I think that just speaks to, once again, the cool collective of artists you have and that you're working with. We haven't even talked much about Baker yet, but I'm sure we will.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I love him.
Yes,
he's been emailing us drafts as we're doing things, by the way. Just, you know, if we're ever looking in the corner, like we're getting score drafts at at 9.
Wow, I'm gonna put a visual on your side. I'm just gonna put a notification from Baker every like 2 minutes.
Real.
Okay, well, if we're not potty breaking, I have more questions. This goes once again for both of you. What do you think was your biggest lesson or learning curve during this process? I know there's probably a lot to choose from because it was a very intense 10 days. But yeah, biggest learning curve or
If I may go first, just because actually, I was hoping that this was the next question because I did, you know, we got them beforehand. But because the editing process has taught me a lot in that specific scenario with Kale, where he brought in this new idea and I said no. And then like if we're being super real, because you know, like this is a great question because I'm 23 and I have a lot to learn, and this is the second thing that I've actually directed, like with actual people and stuff. But he offered up this idea. I believe he offered an example of the idea, and I watched it, and I was just so against it. And I had such a breakdown over this idea, genuinely. And you can cut it if it's not the vibe of the podcast, but I really struggled with the fact that like I didn't see what was good about the change. And so for me, the biggest learning thing has been allowing like why did you hire people, right? Why do you want to work with people? Because they're incredibly talented and they have a lot to bring to the table. And so being open about it, which I think is something that I do pride myself in, is allowing like other opinions. Like I don't think anyone would say that I'm like a dictator on set or anything.
Emilie, please no.
No, Emilie, we would never.
We all look
Shout
at the
Emilie. All
notification in the
hail
corner.
Emilie.
Yeah, real.
No, but I love getting ideas from other people, but I think sometimes like when you're the director, it feels like, well, shouldn't I have the best idea all of the time? But that's not how it works, you know. We're
You're
all
almost
a
like a
bunch of
filter for the best idea. Is how I've heard it put by
Yeah.
other directors. Like finding having all the ideas, but then picking the best ones.
Thank you for
Ooh.
saying that. Yeah, I needed that, but no, it was a hard thing to go through, and it's not the only time that that's happened on this particular set, but in life in general. But that's been one of the biggest learning things, is like is being open to those things. Killing your darlings genuinely is so difficult. I mean, we talked about earlier, like the record store, and like to be there from the very beginning and conception of this thing to the bitter end, you know, being in post-production and seeing all of the things, and all of like the little details. It's really where you can see all of the things that maybe you don't want to see, and all of the things that you do want to see, but it's very harsh process sometimes. And so yeah, killing your darlings and being okay with it, and just knowing that you have to do what you have to do to get the best product at the end of the day has been the toughest thing for me.
Yes. Good job, Emily.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being vulnerable on our
Thank you for
podcast.
being
Please.
vulnerable. Thank you. No,
He's
like
so
we
smart.
genuinely appreciate it, because you know, when you have a massive big idea, a huge idea like this Technicolor, and you both are working on it and you are a part of it, it's a big idea, but it's also in your head still. And then you bring in other people who also have big bombastic ideas that break your headspace. So then you've had the big idea and you've kept it in this little container, and then a new person comes in, shatters that wall that you've built, and you're like, whoa, you're exposing me to a lot. And that can be a lot for people, but it's also like the best way to then move forward. And so it is super strong emotion wise. So thank you for sharing that with us. And also, sorry, Izzy shifted her camera.
Yeah.
I did.
Scared
I
me.
started glitching, and so I had to move.
And you got the backdrop you
So-
wanted.
I did. Well, usually I go like
Yes.
closer to it, but this is true.
Okay,
Yes.
location.
Yes. She
Stop
teleported. She teleported.
It was
That's
perfect
iconic.
timing too. On my screen, you like glitched out right as you moved. It was like perfect timing. It was like,
Really?
oh, and then you're there.
No, like really, J-Cat started being sentimental, and I went, and I was like, damn it.
I thought Izzy
I mean,
had like
what
clicked
is
off
the
the
word?
Zoom.
Because
What
she's
is
like, they
the
can't see
word?
me cry.
Stop. No, I just didn't want to be vulnerable. I'm kidding. I'm actually really good at being vulnerable. So, but I actually don't know what I would pick. I was sitting there listening to Emilie, because I do think the editing has been, it was just like this project is so special. And one of the things that I've had to learn is that, and I've learned this as a person, because I don't know how to say this without sounding egotistical as hell. I was built for very big, important things, and so my life has been very challenging. And the more that I feel like something is supposed to be for other people, and like we really believed in like the message of Technicolor and having emotional regulations and integrity and like feeling those feelings, especially for young men. And that process was very attacked, I would say. And there were lots of things that happened that weren't what we expected. I mean, when we were like planning out Technicolor, it was supposed to be like a summer camp. Like we were gonna like hopefully go to movies afterwards, and like we were gonna plan all these fun things for everybody to do. And that was not the reality of like what happened and how things had to go, which is very sad, because I think we really wanted to like build a family. But sometimes work is work. And like I'm so grateful that so many people were willing to just work with us. I was thinking about like starting with Quirk with Emilie, and I think a lot of what I learned on that was how to hold back, and like how to step back, and how to like my mom was like, let other people have crowns, is what she was telling me during that time of my life.
I like that.
But I like felt, thank you. I do too. My mom's a very smart woman. But I really felt like I'm a very independent person. I'm like hyper independent. I don't need anyone. I don't like, I can do anything by myself. I can do anything. But I learned in court, like, again, like I didn't love set. And so it's not that I couldn't do that. I just didn't want to do that. And if you're not going to do a thing, you need other people to step into some of the roles that you don't want to do. And I would have never had anything I've written be made at that time if Emilie didn't like my script and want to make it and ask me to produce it and like step into my life like that. And so I really learned how to step back and let another person, don't cry, let another person like take something that I care about and like make it more. And I actually like, I grew a lot in that experience. But then we got to Technicolor, and specifically the first couple days, I think it was like day 2, Emilie and I stayed up really late talking because I was like, this thing is so important to me, and I'm not the director, and I'm not the DP, and I'm not any of these roles. But also like I care, and I care so much, and I do have opinions, and I do want output, but I don't want to like, I've worked so hard to not step on anybody's toes and not like move into any spaces that don't belong. And so it was really interesting learning how to like reinsert myself in a leadership role in a respectful way that wasn't overstepping anybody, but also being willing to be like, no, like I study social media, and so like the framing really matters to me. And I was like reading up on books, like I have notes in like film books on like framing, and I was like tilting them side, like I was being obnoxious and a dork about it, and I did do my research. And being willing to like, as much as you have to trust people, like at the end of the day, you have your, like you live with yourself and you go to bed with yourself, and you have to be able to be comfortable in like the product that you created. And I think that was like the balance that I still work at every single day of being like, how do you stay true to your gifts and talents and also like not step on anybody's toes, which that's like a huge, big thing but I think to work in an industry like this, where you need all these other different opinions, but to have a vision and to co-vision, but also like I was not the director. And so like that is a different boundary that I never wanted to overstep. That was a really tricky thing that I hope I did my best to figure out the line. But I think it, especially when things were feeling really out of control, like there was a level of like, I don't need to, and I do that at work too sometimes. I'm like, I don't want to like overstep. And my boss recently was like, no, you should step on people's toes, because like that's how you learn. And so like it's a very interesting cycle of pushing back and learning to lean back. Like, I don't know. And there's all those things. But I would say like that whole experience of learning where you fit in the puzzle, and like it's almost like the puzzle's rotating and you have to like reorient yourself in the situation consistently. That's been really interesting as a creative and working on a project that's this massive and has this many people. So
wow.
Thank you.
All the learning. Oh my goodness. These
so
two
much
wise
learning.
women.
Wise
women words. Wise words of women.
Words.
Speaking of words, I will end out this round with my question, I think, right? Yes, my question. Brain is working. Izzy, since your question is up, can you explain your script writing technique for a script that includes lyrics and a TikTok condensed time frame?
This is so funny. I actually read this and I said, Emilie, I have nothing to say about this. Oops. And then Emilie said, no, dumb woman. No, she was like, dumb. Obviously you do. I think that there was a lot of when we started, there was like, we were like, we can't write the script without the music. We can't write the music without the script. And like, that was kind of a battle of back and forth of like how to do it. And there's like a whole video online of us writing lyrics that didn't make it into the like,
it's a lot of like voice memos, right? Like you like sing. I was thinking something like like it was so good. I love it.
Thank you.
So transformative.
It's so interesting. And I think that I'm a save the cat whore, and I said, Emilie, save the cat. And we like beated everything out and then kind of figured it out. I actually remember when Hale Freeland was like, "What are you two doing?" And we got on some sort of FaceTime and we like shared the document, and it was like this beat sheet that was like episodes and all that. And he said, "This is illegible. Like it does not make sense." And I really thought that everybody could read it and be like, this makes sense." And he was like, "It does not make sense."
He was a man, so us
right,
men are illiterate. So wrong person to ask.
A fellow illiterate. Oh.
Yeah, that's such a he Leah Michelle'd us. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that was, and even like, so I think we can like potential Glenn Powell. Emilie can correct me or not. I keep scaring Emilie with the preambles. We had to cut our last episode into a 2-part finale because it's 7 minutes long and you just lose interest. And so we were still like, we thought that we were like, oh, we'll do like a really long finale. No, it doesn't work. And so now we have 11 episodes. How stupid is that? What a bad number. 11 episodes.
It's wonderful. More content.
I've
for
literally,
the
that's just true. I've been practicing in the mirror. I've been like,
same issue where we had to cut our second episode in half.
No, real.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Watch this one do the same thing.
Yeah.
J-Cat, work your magic.
No, yeah, probably. Sorry. I really like.
Right.
I think that whole thing was really interesting. The music stuff really informed everything and the vibes. Emilie said something really smart about this that I feel like I can't remember, and you should say it now, please, if you can remember.
Yeah, Emilie.
Yeah, Emilie.
What was it, Emilie?
Emilie.
We did write it in 2 days. Fun fact. So
yeah, that's true.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That is
I
true.
think the thing for me that I think I was talking about is that we really treated it as a whole. And so like we knew the beginning, we knew the end, like we knew the arc, right? And so it's like we knew we wanted to do 10 episodes. 10 episodes is a great number. Now it's 11. But we kind of laid it out. Is that bad?
Is that a joke?
Wait.
Did your camera die, J-Cat?
No, it's
again.
not dying. No, I'm sorry. I was trying to be sneaky about it. I was trying to switch on my battery.
That's
You
so
want me
funny.
to keep talking? I just
Yeah, just keep talking.
Okay.
Just keep talking.
I was afraid that it was gonna. Okay. Anyway.
My bad. My bad.
So we had like the whole picture, and that enabled us to have the beats of the story and then how they would fit into each episode. And so I think that definitely helped. Oh, and then also just the fact that it is a musical was helpful for as far as the time limit goes, because a song is 3.5 minutes max. It should be. If it's 4 minutes,
Andrew
you're pushing it.
Yeah, that's true. And Andrew writes shorter songs.
Yeah.
And some of our songs aren't even full songs. And so like it really like that for sure helped inform things. I also think it was interesting because so it started as a short story, which then I was sometime in my beginning of college, I started making it into a feature, and it just never really worked out. And so like there were some bare bones to it of the there were things that I was like, it's not working, Emilie. Emilie was like, he, and like helped kind of morph it into the thing. And Jeannie's like, in the first draft, Grayson lives with his older sister, who is Amber, not mom. Emery does not exist. And then the older brother, the dad, Brick, moves in, and there is no mom. Yeah. And in our version, he lives with his mom, Amber. There's 2 siblings. Emery is out of town, and then Brick is the older brother. So it's all very different, like super different. And I think in like my little young mind, the mom was like institutionalized or something, which is not a thing that happens anymore. But I feel like I can look at like an old beat sheet, and she's like has like schizophrenia or something, and it was supposed to be more of like a commentary on like mental health and the levels of mental health. And this is a bit, again, because we weren't going into a feature-length film, like there's not all the conversations, but I think there's a lot more subtext. If you want them, they're there,
Yeah.
And then it leaves room for either, if we hope, like I think we would prefer to develop a feature, I think, than we would to make a season 2. But if somebody gave us money, we would do anything.
Yes.
They're like, we want Grace and feet pics. It's like, yeah.
You have to talk to Klein on that. Yeah.
Yeah, real. They just have
there's
like
a lot
color changing toe hair, you know.
Wait, wigs for toes? Wigs for toes?
Woes.
Can you whip out those woes?
Can you whip out those woes?
Can we Glenn Powell that?
That's crazy.
No.
Emilie, you were saying something wise and intellectual.
There's a lot of the thing about all of the characters is that I think we love them all like so much, and there is so much, we've had so many conversations about who they are and where they came from and why they're behaving the way that they're behaving. And you don't see any of that in the show, right? Like there's 2-minute episodes on TikTok, and there's a lot of conversations about being women writing about a man is a very interesting thing.
Yeah,
because we really care about women and representing women in a good way, in a way that we feel is accurate and has depth. And it felt really weird that we maybe couldn't do that to the full extent with Amber and with Emery and with Iris.
Iris.
Specifically Iris, because Iris is really cool. We love Iris.
Is really cool.
We love Iris.
And she does give like manic pixie, and that was not the intention.
So we had so many conversations about how to avoid that, but she has so much depth to us. But at the end of the day, it's not about her, and it's not about Amber, and it's not about Emery. And so that we have these really cool women that we don't get to explore because it is about this little sad boy. So,
there's and no, please continue.
You just have to be true to who your protagonist is, and like your audience, like they are going to care about the other characters, but you have to, when you're dealing with something like that, I mean, that speaks to the question of like, how do you write with the time constraints, is you have to kind of be really focused on that protagonist and on that arc that he's going through.
There's a specific thing. I remember talking to Kale and Gracie, which are Grayson and Iris, for what is the 2-part finale. And there's a thing that happens with the main character and his brother, which leads to this other thing happening with the love interest. That's a very vague way to put it, but I did no spoilers. So with that though, like when we're talking about it, it was like Grayson has to learn the lesson with his brother. Like that is the crux of the story, and the kind of the reward to that is having a girlfriend, which does make my blood curdle. But at the end of the day, we really were writing like the story that gives like men permission to have feelings. I was just, this might be off topic, I don't care, talking to somebody about queer representation in this story. And I think because we were like making the album cover and there were rainbows, and it was like, does it feel queer? Does it not feel queer? And there were some questions about Grayson being queer or his brother Brick being queer and all these things. And one of the things I was talking about was how I feel like why my bigger question was, is that why are we making emotions and sexuality phenomena this like the same thing? Because that continues the thing that like queer men have feelings and straight men don't have feelings, and we're trying to create not create but aid a demographic that arguably cannot talk about their feelings, so that way they can be better boyfriends to the Irises. And so it's interesting because that does mean that Iris like doesn't get a lot of the screen time that we'd want, or that like some of the, like, again, we have talked so much about her and so much about all of the women and how interesting they are, but it really, like, the crux of the story and talking about that demographic that we both aren't, we did interview a lot of them, but like that's not our story. So that was really interesting. But I do think overall, I hope you can feel that the women, like, even if you don't get to know them as much, that they are known by someone. I hope that happens.
I feel like you can see the work that went into it that didn't quite make the cut into the script. Like, I feel like, especially Iris being such a cool character the first time we see her, you know, just like there's someone there. That's not just a girl. That's not just whoever. You know, like there was some writing that went into that, and it didn't make the cut. But I think it clearly comes across. And if you guys choose to explore those characters later on, you already have something to build on. So I think that is cool. About the writing process that a lot of writers do is like they end up writing a lot of extra things just to get into these characters that quite make the screen. So I think that's really cool that like you guys wanted so hard to like, you know, to lean into strong women, but then like you said, a good writer will focus on who their main protagonist is, and that can be really difficult. So I think it's still going to come across really, really well.
There was never really like a conversation of, oh, he's a guy, so he needs to do this. It was more so like he's feeling this emotion, or this character is feeling this emotion, or this song is telling us what they're singing is the way that they're feeling. And so I feel like when people watch this, whether they're, you know, watching for something specific, you know, they're like, oh, is this, I see rainbow, so maybe there's queer representation, or like, oh, this is about mental health, so I'm going to watch it for this. I feel like no matter who watches it, they're going to get out your intention and the subtext without ever really being in your brains, because we as choreographers got it without ever consulting, you know, that whole crazy bit of like me and Cece coming up with Grayson, who his dad was really just us
funny.
us deep diving radioactive. But like that's what people are gonna do when they get home and they see these shows, is like, oh my gosh, this is Grayson to me. I see Grayson as me as a trans person, or me as a woman, or me as a, you know, whoever it is. They're going to put themselves into the shoes, and you guys have perfectly constructed someone who is acceptable to be the main character for other people.
It is the Optimus Prime effect, which is that men feel represented. I know, I knew you were. I watched you, but I do think that is important to note that we like Grayson is very vague intentionally to be like a Luke Skywalker and just like
the everyman.
Yeah, it's like a screen for you to project on, you know.
Please don't die.
I didn't. This chair's been breaking a lot.
Really quick, if you are watching Technicolor Dreamboat because you saw a rainbow and you're like queer representation, I have two things to say. Well, I have three things to say. The first thing is that we've discussed the sexuality of every character in that show, and there is queer representation. You can figure it out. That's up to you.
Real.
There are in Iris's band 2 non-binary people on drums and bass. So and also I feel like it's like the Harry Potter effect, right? It's like hiding something about yourself, right? And then going through that process of letting everybody know about it, you know. It's a very classic like queer story, I think, if you are if you saw the rainbow and you got excited.
Yeah, know that it was made with love by the right people, for sure.
Yeah, so we're just gonna have to, on our watch party special episode, we're gonna have to I guess add radar, maybe? I don't know.
Take a shot every time they're gay.
Yay! Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell.
I
love.
Yes. So the next section is called Bit of the Week. I'm trying to put a little flair on it. Bit of the Week.
Bit of the week.
Glenn Powell.
Bit of the set. So we're doing a different version this week. So usually it's Bit of the Week, but since we had so many different gags and jokes on set, we thought we'd share that with our listeners. So if you can think of one, I'm sure we had several, but a bit of the set.
Bit on the set.
Bit of the set.
I mean, thank you, Barbies, but Thank You, Barbie was definitely one.
Barbie!
Sure. Thank you, Barbie.
Barbie.
Love a Barbie. Was that this summer? Yeah, it was this summer. We filmed in March. I don't even know when things happened. Before Barbie. That's so interesting.
Yeah, Izzy referred to everyone on set as Barbie, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever, and it wasn't even gender-based. It's just everyone is Barbie. She'd walk up to
Barbie.
Hi, Barbies. Here's the deal. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, thank you, Barbies. And she walked away. And it was iconic, perfect, beautiful, wonderful. I want everyone to do it.
Kale Freeland definitely calls everyone bestie, which I have stolen, and I do say bestie a lot, but that was a big one. Wait, are you gonna tell the story? We did talk about this. Day one wardrobe. Kale, you, me, closet.
It wasn't day
Oh.
one. First of all, hey yo,
It was
so
night
not.
one.
You were in the
Hey, yo.
cafe day one. That's a good bit.
Oh,
I
day
can
Day
can
two.
tell that
My
bit.
bad.
You're right. That was a good bit. So Brooke, our wardrobe
we made
designer,
lists.
had. I know. I was gonna pull up the list if you said that.
Please keep going.
Brooke had to leave early one day, and we were trying to figure out the system of the costumes. And so me, Izzy, and Kale Klein were in the room where all of the wardrobe was set up. And there was a very intricate system. It was confusing only now I realize because tops and bottoms were mixed matched, right? Like, so like a top would be with a bottom one day.
Yeah, that's so
a
fair.
shirt would be with pants one day, and then the next day like that shirt would be with different pants, and those pants would be with different shirt, whatever. So it was kind of confusing. So Izzy and Kale were like having a good time and like making jokes, and I was trying to think. So yes, Kale, fine. So I said, please be quiet, I'm trying to think. And so they got really quiet, and I stared.
No, but we're both like kids in the back of the backseat. We're like,
yeah, like, trying to hold it in. I will turn this car around.
One
I
of
was like
McDonald's
staring. I was staring intently at the costumes, and then I figured it out, and it's dead silent. And I just go, "Okay, I'm a genius."
And we say it now all the time, like pretty consistently. We'll be like,
which
okay,
those parts are just the ending.
Just okay, I'm a genius. Anytime
I
you
honestly
crack
thought
the
that
case,
everyone be quiet, I need to think is honestly
Yeah.
just as iconic. Everybody be quiet, I need to think.
Yeah,
Well, we
yeah.
were like, that was so
Okay, I'm a genius.
Oh
It
my
was also
gosh.
very normal of me to do that in front of Izzy. Very weird of me to do that in front of Kale Klein. Like,
No,
not
really.
like we're just not. We don't hang out all the time. It was a little goblin moment.
so true. I think that's not a bit, but I do think it was funny when there were new people who didn't realize that Emilie and I are best friends and do talk at least 4 hours every day. And that's not like we're always on the phone. I get off work, I call her, she gets off work, she calls me. Like that's how life works. And a lot of times we're working, a lot of times we are not. We are getting to the Marvel movies. So there were times that like I was new character and people were like, why are you so chummy with scary director? And I'd be like, that's not different.
Like, did she just call the director Barbie? I thought her
No,
name
no, I remember like introducing myself to people and they'd be like, and I was like, get off. I'm kidding. I didn't do that.
Most people had a sense of who you are because I never stopped talking about you. So
as you should.
Actually, we caught you doing another bit. We caught you in that last section talking about Kale Klein or Kale Freeland.
Oh, Kale Klein and Kale Klein. Yeah.
You Kale's on set. K Kale and C Kale.
Yeah.
Both very important.
That was pretty early on. I feel like Quirk, we were doing that.
Quirk, yeah. Because
it's been like a year that this is
today.
And
yeah,
for the listener,
call them both Kale Klein. I'll be like Kale Klein, and this is correct. My mouth is not, but like I'll be like Kale Klein.
Yeah, sign language to distinguish the Kales for sure. Yeah,
that's so funny. I don't have any. None of mine are like. All of mine are Glenn Powell. Like all my bits.
Okay, I look forward to the after episode.
The one thing that is there is that when the last day when the cops came, fun fact, if you're trying to throw a fake party during spring break in Arizona, when you're all young people, they are gonna call the cops. And I come and I'm the executive producer, right? So I'm sitting here, my tiny little self, in like this oversized green puffer jacket that I wear all the time. And they're like, who's in charge? And I'm like, I am, sir. And he looked at me, he's like, so what are you doing? And I was like, we're filming a TikTok musical. And he was like, cool, is there a real adult anywhere? I was like, yeah. And
Wow.
I felt so bad. I had to like grab the owners of the house and be like, hey, I tried. I like, it was so funny because there was no alcohol, like no real alcohol.
Yeah.
We were all, it was a set.
No, it was a set. We were working. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir, I'm at work. Like,
Yes, I would still say that's something that I still say to this day, and it will be ingrained in my brain forever. And I definitely want to put it on a t-shirt is, what's your name?
What's your
Absolutely.
What's your
The only
vibe?
reason I didn't say that one is because I knew that one of you three was gonna say it, because that, yeah, absolutely. Oh, what's your vibe?
It's
Yeah.
everybody. Let's be clear. Everybody on set. Every time
Yeah.
that it was in the song and it played, all it was like for the rest of the day. What's your vibe?
I have thought about that because that was just the first song that we filmed, and like I wonder what would have happened if we picked any other song to do first. You know what I mean? Like what would have been like it really just was like the first. I mean, it's iconic, but it was like the first one, so we all just knew it the most. So like when we talked about merch, I remember everybody was like, "What's your vibe?" And I was like, maybe people need to watch it first because we had a different time than like what watching.
I think even in choreography, we heard the music over and over again. And what's your vibe? At choreography rehearsals became a thing. So I would even lend it to like the first day excitement. I think it just is
That's
iconic.
a good point. It is iconic.
Outing Brant on the podcast as a 21 Pilots fan, but Brant and I both have some sort of knowledge of 21 Pilots. I'll leave it there. I don't know how deep that goes for either of us. Anna Michelle did not, but we would have meetings and we were playing 21 Pilots. And there's a video of that, I think, on the Instagram and the TikTok.
On the Instagram.
Yeah. Of us just jamming out to 21 Pilots. And so sometimes there will still be memes shared about 21 Pilots.
Well, yeah, that was a bit of the set. Woo!
Woohoo!
Oh,
so many bits.
So many good bits.
Oh,
all right. We have our last round of questions. I know you guys are feeling grilled. So thank you for your endurance through these many, many questions. Cece, do you want to kick us off on our final section here?
Yeah. I know you guys kind of touched on this already, but the question that I had was, can you describe your creative process and how it evolved throughout the production of Technicolor, as well as how you handled creative disagreements?
Ooh. Oh, we've touched a little bit, I think, on some of these.
Sorry, I thought Izzy was taking off her earrings.
Ready.
She's like,
no, my AirPods died, so
no.
You don't know what the preference is.
Moment of silence.
We
never disagree.
We were on the phone yesterday when these questions were sent out, and we got to that question. And Izzy said, that doesn't even happen. And I was like, yeah. No, but it doesn't happen very often.
I think that there's what Emilie and I bring to the table separately is that I'm a very scrappy creative and Emily's a very detailed, high budget creative. I would argue one is better. I'm kidding. I think I'm a finisher, but that means sometimes I do the fastest route first and I don't do it right the first time. Emilie sometimes is like, let's do it right the first time, but it's like, we have $800. So like some of those differences that I think lend into the process, like specifically Grayson's bedroom, way back in pre-pro, Emilie wanted to rent an Airbnb and paint the bedroom chalkboard so that way we could have a chalkboard wall. I said, what? That's crazy. We can't, but like, again, like some of those.
I offered this room. I did offer this room.
Yeah. No, which is also crazy. It's your grandmother's condo. I would never, ever, ever
She said we could. Here's the
we found the perfect bedroom and it was perfect.
Yeah, we did.
Had a bathroom attached, which is
is
what you wanted. And that's the thing. Emilie has things that she will not let go. But I do think as a director, you need to have like standards, because I'll let go of everything, even when I'm right. Because like whatever's gonna get it going
oh
is what I need to happen. 'Cause I will finish no matter what happens. And I do think this is not me. I feel like this is coming up like dragging Emilie. I think when Emilie has hundreds of millions of dollars, the movies are going to be stunning and perfect and all those things. We're just not in that bracket yet. And so I think creatively, sometimes it's really like I have a hard time spending money because I'm like, why would we do that? We can do everything for free. Like, so we're about to go into pre-production for a different project that we actually have a budget for. And I don't know I brought Emily as producer because I don't know what to do with it. Like, I genuinely don't know how to spend money. Because why would I? I can do everything for free. But sometimes you do need to spend money to get a good product done, and you do need to like make decisions and all. Like, we even like casting. I remember when we did Quirk, which isn't this, I was like, hey, all these boys are making things in their backyard. We can make a thing in our backyard. Let's go do that.
Hell yeah.
And then we had a meeting and Emily was like, so we need a gaffer. And I was like, what's a gaffer? Like, what do you mean? And then we did like casting calls. And I was like, what do you mean we're doing casting calls? So like, I think Emilie really respects the things that she makes. I do too. I just also respect being done. And I think that those are different perspectives that then merge to finish this thing. I think it's why we work well as a team. I don't know if you have anything to add to that perspective.
Sounds to me like you're calling me a visionary, I think you said. Yeah. I do think I have pretty lofty ideas sometimes, and it is very nice. Izzy keeps me grounded for sure. I have learned a lot from writing with Izzy specifically.
Yeah,
create, like,
not like, yeah, you did. That's the
yeah. No.
Yeah.
I taught her everything she knows.
That's
right.
Not true. Not
to create worlds that are like achievable at the level that we're working at. Izzy has definitely taught me a lot about that. But I also think,
girl.
Yeah, but I do also think that sometimes I think the first draft of the script you should write without those ideas in mind. Like you should write like
freely,
without limits, and just see what happens. Personally, that's just me. And then you can kind of whittle it down from there, which I do think is kind of what we ended up doing. There was like a push and pull in certain places. But I mean, we were talking about downtown Mesa, and that was not my idea. So
that's true. Well, I thought that they would small businesses. That's always my angle. I'm like, small businesses are gonna want to be promoted. Nobody wants a bunch of 20-year-olds hanging around their stuff and not having to shut down for like nobody wants that. And what are contracts and what is insurance? Like, what do you mean we're just gonna go hang out? So and film and use really expensive equipment next to your nice stuff. Yeah, I think that it depends on what you're writing for. I think that we Technicolor specifically, we were writing filming scripts, which is different than like a script that you submit to a contest or a script that you're gonna produce. Like, it's just a very different thing. And so I think you like look at it differently. My mother is a indie screenwriter, has only ever produced her own things, and so I've just sat in the room with her so much to be like, okay, we have money from this city, which means that these people are bringing in and they're connected to these people. And like, and it's just, so I think it would be very difficult for me. Again, like now I'm in this project that has money and I like look at my paper and I'm like, what? Like, I don't even know like what to do. And even that one's going to be like super chill anyway, knock on everything. But I do think that it's just really, it is very nice to have somebody that is like, that hasn't had that experience to be then like I would say like narrowed down by the reality of spending of things. You know what I mean? Where like there is freedom to have story again. I think a lot of times, other than the superhero things I write, like everything I write is like very like the feature that we want to make. I wrote it for us to make with like two people in a car. Like that was the vibe. It was not necessarily a big crew or anything. Showing up to Technicolor and there being 35 people was crazy, especially when I hadn't met most of them and I was meeting a lot of people for the first. It was an insane thing. I remember Quirk felt crazy with like 20 tops.
Like 12.
You know?
They
I
were
felt
like
like a
12.
lot. They were all in my house.
Like 15. Yeah, that's so fair. That is the other interesting part of this creative process has been the music. For me, it's been really weird for me because I haven't had a lot of training in music. I took a couple guitar classes, took a couple piano classes way back when, but I don't like read sheet music, and I don't play the guitar often enough to really like I can, but like I don't know music theory. I don't know a lot of these things. So to be like, let's write a musical, crazy thing for me to say. But working with Andrew is a super, super interesting thing. And luckily I had done it before on Quirk in doing the score, and we had spent 7 hours in his dorm room writing two songs for that short film. So I had done it before, but Andrew works very differently than Izzy and I. I think Izzy and I are both very structured, very organized people, and Andrew is not. Love you, Andrew. He knows Kale Freeland has been on him about his organizational skills, so I know that he's aware. But no, he's just that's like a perfectly fine way to be a creative. It's a very normal way to be a creative, to have that sort of just like scatteredness. But pairing that with Izzy and I and the structure and everything, like it was super interesting for sure.
Yeah. And I think that also, like, again, neither of us had ever written a musical before. And I was classically trained when I was a child. But like that's very different than like I actually always said I would like never write music. I thought it was cringy and chuggy and weird. I was like, I could do. Anybody who knows me know that that's very wrong now. But I remember feeling like again, it's that same feeling of like I had learned to step back for so long, so like learning how to step forward and what I am good at and all the things and realizing skills that you don't have, which means being vulnerable, because sending voice messages to people and being like, I think this might be good, you're like with the risk that they're like you, that's awful. And there's this whole song that I felt so confident about, and it's like it's the What's Your Vibe, but not that. It's like the first draft of What's Your Vibe. And if you listen to it, it's flat because I couldn't hear myself. But also it's just like genuinely so different. And then Andrew was like, hey, can I have a minute? And then came back with What's Your Vibe, which is like perfect. And like I don't even know what he did. And like I've sat in the room with him when he does stuff, and I don't even like I can't even comprehend what he's doing. But like being able to just like articulate, because sometimes it's just saying the sentence in the right way and he's like, oh yeah, got it. Or we were making something and we were like, hey, what's that weird thing at the back? And then he plays this amazing thing, which is in the album, it's going to be it's pink, it's Iris's theme. And he was just like, oh, I was just hanging out, it was just whatever. It's amazing. It's like the coolest thing. And like that's super interesting to then understand like what people do on their own time, which is hard when you work like Emilie and I as a team, because we think about it when we're not together and then coming back and being like favorite colors, I don't know, but like weird things that you wouldn't think about, be like, I think this, well, I think that. I think that's the beautiful thing about like fictional characters, is they do think they have room to be as complex as you think about them, you know?
Yeah.
Another interesting thing about like writing music for this, and again, it's like writing for men and we are not that, and like and specifically like especially when we were writing the song that canonically Grayson wrote in high school, it's like, how do we write lyrics for teenage boys, like things that a teenage boy would come up with, and I think Izzy and I are both like push the water. We're both I think we're both very poetic people, And I know for a fact that Izzy loves words. And
love words.
so it's like a lot of our first drafts of lyrics were really wordy, and Andrew really helped to come in and simplify things and make it a little bit more digestible for sure.
Oh yeah. The first, I have too much to say, rolling the dice with playing it safe. If you guys could hear like the first, it's probably like Hamilton level, like amounts of words happening.
Yeah.
Which kind of made sense when I was a bit more golden retriever. But now that she kind of gives hot topic, like I'm not sure if it just doesn't fit the vibe. What's your vibe? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your vibe?
What's your vibe?
What's your vibe?
So good. I'm so excited to see it.
Oh,
Me too.
My goodness. And that leads into my final question, which is, what is it about Technicolor Dreamboat that just makes it so magical?
Yes. Spill the secret.
Trauma.
Trauma.
Thank you. That'll be all.
When we were reading the questions, we got into that question and Izzy said I would never use that word to describe Technicolor, which if you want to cut that out, you can. Do you want to cut it out?
I really didn't know where you were going. I was like, what do you mean? Yeah, no, I don't know why. I just was like, I never
Just
yeah.
I mean, I think it's incredibly like important to you, and like there are a lot of other words you would use to describe it, but specifically you were like, I wouldn't use that word.
I just wouldn't use that word. It's so funny.
Where was I going with that?
I don't know, just
I don't know. We're Glenn Powelling right now.
Yeah, no. I would use that word. Because like genuinely from the second I heard the idea, it was a very important and special idea to me. And I think that like the vulnerability it took to write it, to make it, and to talk about it now, like to go through it, not just like the script, but like our process on set, it was really difficult. And so like going through that, it's magical what like just divine timing does, and things that are out of our control. And the vulnerability to me is very magical, because I like it was a very important part of the project for me, is that this character learns to be vulnerable. And I think that everyone who worked on the set like can gain something from the story, and like we are learning with Grayson as we're making it, and then the audience is learning with him as they're watching it. And I also think the visual representation of feelings, like it's why Inside Out is so popular. Like it's just a very like, I think we don't have a way to quantify feelings a lot of the time, and so to have that visual representation, I mean, it is like magical realism, I would argue. And so that is what makes it magical, is this thing that like doesn't exist in our world, but is just an everyday thing to Grayson, and such a struggle, but such a blessing at the same time.
Oh, I love that. So much better than the first answer.
The answer. Okay, because first of all,
that was the answer.
I think that what I 100% that I remember talking to my dad like halfway through filming and being like the radical acceptance of expectations and all these things. And my dad was like, I bet you that because everybody who was there for a specific reason. And my dad was like, I bet you people aren't there just to provide the content, but to receive the content. And like that we're here to be able, like, I don't want to say the word minister to people, because I actually like, I feel like not like separating state and church or anything, but I do think that like the spirituality is really interesting, but the emotional integrity and letting people have feelings. I have had my own journey of being my authentic self. It is exhausting, but I do think it's worth it. And I feel really blessed to have done the journey, because I do think like specific, like Grayson's routine at the beginning, and he does the same thing every day not to have feelings. I did that like during COVID, like that was my whole life, and I didn't get any schools that I wanted, and I was stuck at home, and like I was so depressed. And then like the act of being willing to be yourself, and I'm like a very weepy person, I would say. Like I don't like the word emotional because I think we're all emotional, but like I have high highs and low lows, and I'm very willing to cry. And it makes people wildly uncomfortable. And I've gotten so good at it that recently somebody was like, I didn't know like you could cry, because like now like I've learned where it's safe to cry and where it's not safe to cry. Most people who know me have seen me cry. I cry quite frequently. And like the fact that that wasn't okay. And that was a lot of like when I was writing this at 17, kind of realizing that that wasn't a thing I was going to grow out of. Like my mom would say I have a very big heart, but like the things that I feel and how deeply I feel things. I was just talking with one of the producers, Jamie, last night, and she was like, there's not many people who understand what that's like to every day, like go out like it's a battle wound, and like just like be willing to be happy and be willing to put yourself out there when you know that you're just going to get stabbed every day. And like that's really challenging, and deciding that it's worth it. Like, and I think so journey of learning that it is better to put yourself out there and have consequences, and find safe ways to put yourself out there, and realize it gets a lot messier when you be you instead of when you're just like this thing that fits and is numbed out. It's really challenging. And I think I'm really excited for what I hope we're carving a space where people can start feeling those things and letting and naming feelings and the complexity of feelings. And I think Inside Out is great, but I do think it's a children's movie. And every adult I've talked to has been like, yeah, you know, they really meant it when like you get old and you stop feeling joy. And I'm like, that's not the point of the movie. Like movies challenge your reality. They do not just reflect your reality. And like, what if you didn't have to be sad every day? Like, what if you could choose to be happy? That's an option. And I do think that's what the movie was telling you to do, was to try. And I think that to me is very magical, is that I feel like we are giving people, or I hope promoting options and promoting joy. And this set at times was very hard to walk into and be joyful. But it was better to do that and to try and be willing. I mean, there were a couple of days Emilie and I called it war. We're like heading into war today because it was so hard. But like it was worth it. Like I do believe, and I'm a better person for it, and maintained relationships and stayed true to myself, that at the end of the day, like I can go to bed and I feel okay in my soul, that like I did the best thing I could do for me and for what I wanted to do and for my project. I'm very grateful for that, and to have something like this that feels like such a I told my parents it felt like a magnum opus of like my young adulthood. Like I now have like this thing that is a reflection of like a lot of the trials I've been through, and to be like, it is okay to be me. Because I can tell you a million, like school, work, everything, like people do not, I don't even know. I'm just not everybody's type. And that's okay. That's so fine. I'm myself.
That's so dumb.
Type.
That's so dumb, because I feel like you should be everybody's type. You're so nice to everyone. So literally,
That's
if they have a problem with you,
feel.
I will fight them.
Thank you, bestie.
Me first.
If someone's not your vibe, that's fine, because they're not. That's fine.
Exactly.
Period.
If you're not
people that are
nice to
supposed to be in your life.
If you're not nice to Izzy, don't make me get the machete. I got my knife. Don't make me get the machete. If you're not nice to Izzy, I'm done with you. I don't feel for any of you people.
Damn. Okay.
I love
okay.
you. Aww.
The views shared by Julia on this podcast
Wow.
are
Julia,
You're
this is
so
why me and
kind.
you, we just click.
Well, speaking of promotion, I'm gonna end this off with, I guess, my final question for you guys. This is for both of you. What is your advice for those who might be inspired to create their own filmed musical?
Do you guys want to know what I said when I read that?
Yes.
It's not that hard.
You heard it here
Maybe
first.
somebody who doesn't have an Andrew
Genuinely?
Baker.
No, well, okay, that's one thing. You should ask Baker. But I would say nothing is as hard as you think it is. And I say that not just from Technicolor. I love living in LA. Not just from Technicolor and not, but like I've been in grad school for this like advanced tech program and everything's on Google and everything's on YouTube and we are two young people. Like I didn't go to film school. Like that's not, I had one semester like when I was 18 and then I didn't do that. Like everything is attainable. And if you want to do it and you want to write, like you can. And now more than ever, it is like so right there. And so if you want to do a crazy thing, even when people call you audacious and over ambitious and like you don't know what you're doing, you should just do it. And if you fail, maybe you learn way more from the mistakes than you ever do from the successes. And there were a lot of mistakes. But genuinely, like I'm not to toot our own horns, but like still 10 months from when we said we should do this thing and the album comes out this week or next week and then the show's going to come out this fall. Like you can do anything you want to do is how I feel, and it's not that difficult if you want to do it. And it doesn't have like whatever your TikTok musical is, it's not that hard. You should do it. Emilie.
Yes, I would listen to your TED Talk, Izzy.
Thank you.
And now some more practical advice.
That's so nice.
No.
Up in the clouds. Let's just drag you right there.
Yeah. Switch roles here. No, you should absolutely just do it. Know that one of the reasons we were able to do it is that we had an amazing network. So hopefully like start there, right? Like if you're in film school, talk to everybody, be on every set and talk about not just what they're doing on that set, but what they would rather be doing, and learn people's skills and their passions. If you're not in film school, find communities, there's always short films, audition for a short film, even if you want
That's what I did.
That is what Izzy did. Even if
because if you're a talent, then everybody has to be really nice to you, and then you can learn all class.
That is how I met Izzy. Is that
is how
talent?
Yeah. The first thing Emilie ever said to me was,
"Don't you dare! That's not true. First of all, it's not true. That's not the first thing I said."
You seem like someone who watched Glee.
And you do. And I stand by that. And you do.
I've never seen Glee.
No, you were just in show choir in real life. So
yeah, why would I? No, but literally I was playing music and we were chatting and she was, and like I think a K-pop's like Blackpink came on and she was like, "You kind of gave Glee."
I don't think it was K-pop. I think it was the Fortnite song.
Number one Victoria Royale.
Number one.
Check it with you. Yeah. That does. Gosh. And she said, "I want to keep this one."
Yeah, I did. It's true. Yeah, no, do stuff that's out of your comfort zone. If you're having a hard time finding community, go outside your comfort zone. Because oftentimes that's where you're gonna find it. But I do think community networking is so important, and it's how we build the connections that we're able to be like, "Hey, can we film at your house? Can we film at your house? This is super last minute. Can we do this? Can you come be on my set? Can we borrow your equipment?" Like, just make friends. Make friends.
Yeah. That's so fair. And a lot of cities want to promote, like, we live in or I don't anymore, but Arizona specifically really wants to grow their film program or not their program, but just like their film everything. So, and there are a lot of places that do, and like you should research tax incentives, like genuinely, and like see what states, because if like you have a friend who's in Kentucky, be like, "Can we couch surf and film at your place?" Like like those kind of things. And for when you're starting out, I've never done it, but I've heard 48 hours are good experience and you meet lots of people. It's like a hackathon for my major. Like that's where you meet lots of people if you're just trying to find stuff. Also, always follow people first on Instagram. I stand by that. You're never weird. People love to be followed, and stalk people and follow them. And that's also like, there are people that I'm like, "Oh, I saw you online," and blah, 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 blah.
One more piece of advice is like, know your selling points, I think. A couple things we talked about when making Technicolor is like, okay, we're young women filmmakers. Like that's a thing that people might be interested in promoting.
And she's Latina.
Isabel. Silence.
Like there's specific like if for like
Yeah.
Herod, like they don't have a lot of Polish film scholarships, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of like Latina film festivals that you could be submitting to.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. If anyone, I don't know why you couldn't tell, based on looking at me, I am half Colombian. It's true.
Oh!
We're young women filmmakers. We do live in like a state that has a lot of pride in specifically their film industry. So like, but it could be, you know, if you live in a state where it's not film's not necessarily the thing, they probably have a lot of state pride. So, you know, leverage that. Also, as Christian filmmakers, there's a lot like that's a talking point. That definitely helped us with the coffee shop that we filmed at, though I think they would have let us anyway. They're the nicest people on the planet.
They were crazy.
Lovely.
But
Very
it's
lovely.
those things that you have in common with the people that you're looking for. You know, it's not like, oh, what can I like give you? It's just like common ground, you know, and it opens those doors.
People are always going to root for you more than they're going to root for your product. Like at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter if your short film was like the best short. They're going to remember like the way you treated them and the way you talked to them and what you wore that day and like that funny joke that she said. Like those are the things. And when people like meet up with, like we recently we were in a showcase and one of our actors came up and they were like, I was excited, but now I've seen your stuff and now I'm more excited. And like they didn't know, like they knew the way that we made them feel on set, which again, thank God. But like that is different than like, and then when you have a product to back yourself up, it just helps. But at the end of the day, like again, my mom, she's a Christian filmmaker and they go very indie. And the first one was filmed in my hometown in Wisconsin when I was 12 years old. And they had like very little money and they were just going up to people and being like, can we have 20 film people stay in your basement, please? And they were all like, okay, because they were just so excited. And like everything's very attainable. Film is currently being demystified every single day. If you're on TikTok long enough, that Reese guy has done a lot of work for the rest of us to make it all very accessible. And you probably know someone in film. If like you feel like you don't, you probably do. You're not that far away.
Yeah.
And if not, go meet them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Preach.
I really appreciate that because like it's the people you know that help you get this stuff done. Like I mean, Technicolor literally was, hey, Izzy, I know that you want to write a musical, and now look at us. So it's like it's the people you know.
True.
Yeah, and it just keeps
it's that
going.
I can't take a joke is really what that was. Like it was like a bit. People like I don't write up like somebody was like, we should make a musical, and then I came a week later and was like, here's the plan.
I mean, I think I knew that the minute I brought it up to you, it would become a real thing because that's just who you are. Like, so yeah, I knew what I was doing by asking you to write it with me for sure.
Good. Nobody else did though. They were all like,
no, they were like, oh, you guys are serious. Okay.
Right. No, the amount of people that was like, I remember telling my parents for the first time, like, yeah, Emilie and I are producing a musical, and they were like, that's nice, dear. Not really, but like a little bit. They were like, okay. And I was like, yeah, we're gonna put it on TikTok.
Yeah. Kind of the same energy of people who are like, oh yeah, I'm working on a screenplay, and they're like, yeah. Good for you. You know what I mean? Like everybody's got a screenplay that they're working on. So it's like, but no, you guys are you're doers. You make it happen, and I love it.
Thank you. Thank you, Barbie.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's been our questions. Oh wait, did I skip something?
I'm so sad that we have no more. We're moving on down to our final segment, which is famous last words.
Oh, I haven't even thought about it.
R.I.P.
Were they prepared? I don't know. Are you prepared?
It really was.
I am prepared.
Do you guys do it every time as well?
Yeah, so every episode we close out with famous last words, and we just give some advice or say something dumb or whatever.
Literally
If you
whatever.
tie your famous last words,
I just screamed one time.
That it was just background noise, so it didn't even.
That's crazy.
Well, I think we should let our guests go last. So I will start us off with my famous last words. This was in reference to Brant, who was mentioned on the podcast. He has his knees out was one of my would be or and you had to have been there. You had to have been there in person at Culver's to get this phrase, but if it's not he has his knees out, then it's you're a freak for that. Would be my famous last words. You're a freak for that.
Oh my god.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
All right, I'll go. I'm gonna bring it back down to feels. I'm so sorry. Jake had the funnies. I got the feelsies. My famous last words today are that you gotta feel it to heal it, because I just feel like it's not said enough. You gotta feel it to heal it, and that's all about Grayson feeling his feelings. I don't know.
Preach, mama, preach.
Absolutely slay.
Okay. All right. I don't know if you guys like remember these lyrics, but like, I don't know if you know that JoJo Siwa like shouted us out in her song. Like she shouted out Technicolor. So my famous last words. Karma's a bitch, and Grayson knew better than to get blackout drunk at a party.
Real.
He really did.
Yeah, he should have known better.
Man, those are some
He should have never effed around.
Facts. Facts.
This is the second time JoJo Siwa has been mentioned on our podcast, and the more it happens, the worse it gets.
I feel sick.
That's tough. So true.
Oh my goodness. Emilie, famous last words.
Well, first, also in reference to Brant at the Culvers, num 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 num.
That's anti-ASMR right there. I don't want that. Nay.
But the real famous last words are trust your choreographers.
If Kenny Ortega could see us now,
he'd be so proud. He really would. He will be so proud.
Yeah.
He's gonna love it.
Oh my goodness.
Come from a text message from Gray Spider at Sunday at 10:45 a.m., which says, "I feel like it's a vivid life should be the slogan for Technicolor, 'cause like, it's a vivid life."
Oh,
it is a
Emilie,
vivid life.
Whiteboard. Emilie, get the whiteboard.
It is a vivid life.
It is truly a vivid life.
It's a vivid life, baby.
Oh.
Thank you so much for asking us. This was so fun. I feel so honored.
So fun.
No, this is our job. Thank you. You are wonderful
Okay,
guests
go.
being on our podcasts. You are now the first official guest on the Giddy Gigmeister podcast.
Woo!
What's your vibe?
Congratulations.
Honored.
Yes.
Honored.
Yes. Well, thank you, wonderful listeners, for listening to the Giddy Gigmeister podcast. Make sure to live a vivid life and love each other, and don't be afraid to give a little cry here or there. Thank you to our amazing guests, Emilie and Izzy. And make sure to see Technicolor Dreamboat fresh off your phones on that TikTok device thing the new kids got. Oh my goodness.
Man.
Oh my goodness. I don't
Giggity
even...
Giggers out.
No, you
Everybody
can't
wait,
say
smile.
that.
You can't say it with a hard R, Cece. You can't say it with a hard R.
But I'm
With
brown.
a hard
But I'm brown. Does that count
And
for something?
Powell. Gwen Powell.
Okay, wait. There were moments you guys weren't going to share over recording, and I need.
No, hold on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, please.
Cut the recording. Cut the recording.
Sorry, Izzy. Did
The
you want to
cameras.
take a? Did you want to take a picture, Izzy? I'm so sorry.
I already took it. I mean, we can take
Yeah.
a better one if you guys want to pose and
No,
stuff.
Oh,
I looked great. So
Okay, wait.
That's been the podcast. Tune in next time to hear Julia say.
he's always like, Mama, I have to throw ass. That's where I get that from. He like does Bridgerton.
That they are very
That's what I'm
similar,
talking
I
about.
believe.
Hi, my name is Emilie, and thank you for listening to the Giddy Gigmeister podcast.